We has been practicing Visage, and in days leading up to the Leipzig major, he's played the hero 7 times, winning 5 of those games. So we're going to see how he plays the hero, and we're going to see that the hero is not as bad as most people think he is.
My holiness deepens.
Welcome to the Church of Obelisk. The major problem with Visage is that he's quite a weak laner, and he's playing here against Lone Druid, who is a fairly strong laner, so it's not going to be an easy lane. He's also playing here against Matu, so it's not any Lone Druid player, but one of the best Lone Druids in the world. So it's going to be a tough lane, but as we're going to see, it's okay to have a tough lane as Visage. You can still recover and still win the game, even if the lane is not going too well. So what you want to do here at the start is use Grave Jill for last hitting purposes, and what you do is whenever a creep that's important is getting low, you cast Grave Jill probably on the bear here, or also on the hero is also possible, and this allows you to have more attack speed, meaning your attack animation is also shorter and the enemy attack animation is longer, making them often mess up their last hits. And then level 2, of course, you get for Gravekeeper's Cloak. There's no kill potential here in this lane, so Soul Assumption does not make sense. And you just try to do last hitting as well as possible, and Mato here is really not making this easy for him. He's really playing aggressively, which of course he should, because he's a much stronger hero at this stage of the game. And Visage just has to run here. If you get entangled here, you might just die. He's also level 3 now, and it's also why he's now taking a second point in Gravekeeper's Cloak, just to stay alive here. But there's no escape, and Matu gets the kill, doesn't lose the bear either, just resummons it. Last hit wise is actually doing okay, he's only slightly down here. In terms of item build, we actually went for a null talisman at the start, as well as a branch. Personally, I'm not a fan of that build. I think it's much better to just start with this headdress and then 3 branches. This gives you almost as much stats. It gives you 6 to all stats, whereas with the null talisman and the branch you get 7 to int and 4 to the other stats. So we had almost as much damage, and in the beginning at least, this region from headdress is a lot more relevant in lane than this magic amp, or the spell damage amp, which is kind of nice later on for Soul Assumption, but it's not that important. So I feel like the null talisman is a bit wasted. In this lane you just want to stay back here and get as many last hits as you can. Your goal is just to get to level 6. And in between last hits you can hit this bear. Hitting the bear doesn't draw aggro, so hit him all you want. And this is no longer the old bear where he's just more or less invulnerable. Nowadays bear, at least at low levels, is actually quite vulnerable. You can't burst out on the bear anymore. You don't get the natural damage block that melee heroes get. So the bear actually takes quite a bit of damage from your right clicks. And at the start at least it only has 1100 HP. So if you can get this bear down and force him to use resummons and TPs, that is quite a big help. But you're never going to win the lane through right-clicking the bear. That's just like more of a nuisance for the Lone Druid. Most important thing here is just to stay alive, get XP, don't let too many creeps be denied, and get whatever farm you can. This is quite a high caliber game. There's a lot of Nigma players here. This is Miracle, this is GH, and then another Liquid player, but another pro here. We have Febby on the Rubik, so this is a very high caliber game. And Spain gets the bounty rune, but pays with his life for that. Normally in Visage you want to rush straight for that Dominator, but in this game he's getting boots. The reason for that is just that he needs to be able to escape from this bear. Now he gets those boots, and at least as long as the Grave Chill is on there, you can actually escape. But this bear is very fast otherwise. So as Lone Druid you can do this. You're much stronger at this stage of the game as long as Visage doesn't have level 6 yet. So you can just do this. There's nothing that Visage can do to punish you. So it's going to help you. It's going to put some damage on the tower. And you see some more rotations coming in, Tusk coming in here to help out Lone Druid, and Rubik to help out Visage. And they get the bear kill here. That's a very important kill. But unfortunately Rubik is also going to die despite these missed shots from the Tusk. He's going to die, and Visage is also going to die. He sort of committed there for the Lone Druid. That was not a good idea. He should just run. Visage is back and he spots some tangos extra. That's very important. A lot of people, especially at lower levels, just stop buying regen at some point. But in the laning stage, you just always have some regen, and if you're running out of regen, just buy some more tangos. It's perfectly fine. Even if you're mid-player, tangos are great. And so they get this Tusk very low, uses Snowball, and has to escape. And in these kinds of fights, Visage is actually quite strong because of Solar Submission, which deals a lot of damage. It's very mana intensive though, so that's also why I bought this Mango. Now he has his birds up, and birds don't do that much damage level 1. A lot of people have this idea that Visage is just this beast at level 6, and it used to be the case, but these days birds are not that strong actually level 1. You only deal 20 damage, and if you're attacking melee heroes, that gets reduced to 12 thanks to the damage block. So birds level 1 don't do that much damage. Really, the real timing here is when you get level 2 birds. Level 2 birds have 40 damage, that's twice the damage, and against melee heroes it goes from 12 to 32, which is almost triple. So really what you want to do as level 6 Visage is just to catch back up, because as Visage you almost always lose your lane. And here in this game we lost this lane, but it's not actually that bad. He's not that far behind. He's behind by like 600 gold and like 1 level, and that's okay. That's not great, but it's okay. You're fine with this as a Visage. Once you have these birds, you can farm quite quickly and finish up your Dominator, and that's just the most important thing at this stage. So what you want to do is just defend this tower and farm like this camp and this camp if possible. Right now he's been hit by this frostbite, which means that the birds no longer heal, but they still don't take any damage when they're in stone form. Fortunately loses 1 bird here. He's gonna have resummoned him very quickly though, but this bird, he doesn't need to die. He could have stone form there. Slight micro mistake there from Weeha. And so with the resummoned birds you can get in there again. You have to be careful though, you're quite low here. Need to be able to stay back in this fight and not get caught. And this is a bit too far forward. He wants to of course kill this lone druid, but he's very far forward right now and can easily be killed now, and they're snowballing him, and that is a kill. However, this Tusk and this Ancient Apparition are also now very deep, so I guess he died for a good cause, but he didn't need to die here, honestly. It's just very important on Visage to stay back in the fight so you can keep up your Gravekeeper's aura, and your spells have quite a long range. This especially a very long range. Gets a nice stone from here, is enough to just catch the Tusk and get this kill. A little fight here, you can drop those birds. There's some nice stunning here. And it's important to just use the stuns in the early game because damage from those birds is not that great anyway. So he gets some of these kills thanks to Soul Assumption, and now they have to run here. Nice drop, another drop here. That's really good stun locking here, and now they can probably get this kill, and yeah, they do. We has got for 4 points here in the Gravekeeper's Cloak. There's not a lot of AoE damage in the enemy team, not a lot of easy ways of breaking these stacks, so having these 4 points here early on makes him incredibly tanky, as well as of course making his birds really tanky. These birds have 80% damage reduction, so effectively it's like they have 2000 HP, so they're very strong and almost impossible to kill as long as there's 4 stacks here on Visage. And this Gravekeeper's Cloak build is more of a fighting build. If you go for more of a farming type build, you want to get more points in Grave Chill. Grave Chill is excellent for farming because it also gives attack speed to your birds, which makes them do a lot more damage. And also of course gives you movement speed, which allows you to move between different jungle camps and lanes quickly. With this Dominator, they picked up a Centaur here, which of course is one of the best creeps, probably the best creep at the start. Gives you this extra stun, aligns quite well with your familiars. You can use familiars to set up stun for this Centaur Conqueror. And just generally, if you have this Grave Chill, you can easily catch up to most heroes at this stage of the game and just stomp them, because you have so much movement speed on the center, which is moves much faster than most heroes at this stage of the game, especially if you're slowed down by Grave Chill. Next item queued up here is Vlad's. Vlad's a very strong item, just in general as an aura item, and this is your main function as Visage. You want to buy these great aura items which help out not only your own hero and your birds, but also your team. Of course, extra lifesteal is quite strong and familiar, so this makes it even more unkillable, because you do quite a bit of DPS, especially once you have this them at level 2. Gets his kill here, but loses the centaur, and now he has to get out of here. This is a bit of a greedy play here from Viha, but he thinks they're ahead, and of course they are ahead. He's going to try and play his way out of this. Some nice dropping here from the birds. Courier almost dying, but not quite. And he resummons his birds, and he actually escapes. That's a nice play, but honestly probably not worth this risk against just for killing a support. So this Ring of Bassi is going to help you out a lot. You have a lot of mana problems on Visage. It's because this ability is incredibly expensive, especially level 1. It actually is one of the few abilities in the game that go down in mana cost. It's 170 mana cost at level 1 and then 140 at max level. So the reason you want to keep this level 1 is that these other two abilities are so strong on Visage, especially if you're playing with a core, that you just need this Grave Killer's Club to keep your birds alive, and Grave Chill gives you so much DPS and helps out so much with farming as well as fighting, which is why the Soul Assumption stays level 1. And even level 1 Soul Assumption still does a lot of damage. Fight Breaker in the middle, Rubik's being gone on, and they try to save Rubik, but they can't, but maybe we can get some nice range here. And this Tusk is going to die, thanks to Soul Assumption, and they're chasing. They're much stronger here in the stage of the game. This lifesteal is having a really strong game. He has a Heaven's Halberd and a Maelstrom already. Also got 2 neutral items here. This is a very fat lifestealer. See how far he's ahead in terms of net worth. And on top of that, of course, he has this Io here, along with him with this mech and this magic wand and a bottle to heal him up. Viha is really deep here. He's going for this Bane. Bane, of course, is a soft target for you, but he's all alone here, and this rest of his team is only now slowly arriving. It seems like we are sort of testing the limits of the hero and finding out, yes, you do have these limits. You're not really a solo killing machine. You know, you can't really play Visage the way you would play something like a Monkey King. It's just fundamentally a very different kind of hero. You're more supposed to fight with your team. And yeah, this fight is not going too well. The last 3 people only killed 1. Especially if he's so far ahead, you really need to avoid these kinds of fights. And this Hellboss Smasher, for some reason, just wandering around, you just send this home. Just go home. Now it just feeds 200 gold here to this Phantom Lancer. Lifesteal being gone on, and he's trying to defend this Lifestealer, and he just barely manages to, and escorts him home to safety. Thanks to this Grave Chill, you move quite fast, and birds also escaping. Really nicely done from Miha. Actually loses 1 bird, but okay, small losses. Kind of annoying that you don't have a resummon right now, but it's not too bad. They see the bear here, and they see that the bear is attacking here, so they know the lone druid has to be somewhere around here. You can go and scout with your birds. Birds have very little vision, but they do have flying vision. So they do find this lone druid and focus him down. And Via here has gone for a Medallion of Courage. This, of course, is an excellent item for Visage, but it's been nerfed a lot in the last couple of patches, going from 7 armor to 5 armor. So this is no longer as high of a priority, which is why he's going for this Vlad's first, and now he's only going for Medallion. In the past, he almost always went for Dominator and then Medallion, sometimes even the other way around. And he's now queuing up a Solar Crest. Solar Crest is also great on Lifestealer because he's a frontliner. He needs armor, and attack speed and movement speed is also great on him. So he's also just like the most farmed hero, so getting items to make him even stronger is great. One item that's kind of missing here is drums. They don't have drums on their team, and drums actually great on Visage because it synergizes really well with the damage aura from Dominator, and just your familiars do so much more damage with drums. The aura as well as just with the active, of course. So this is an item that's really strong on Visage, and I think it's going to get this drum very late in this game. But I think that drum is more important than finishing this Solar Crest. There's an Alpha Wolf now, which is of course a great creep on Visage. Whether you want to get an Alpha Wolf or a Centaur or a Hellbear Smasher is kind of situational, depends a bit on the lineup and the stage of the game. Of course, the later this game goes, the stronger this creep becomes. Weeha is kind of deep once again, and they're going for him, and he is being bursted here, but he gets saved thanks to this IO from GH, and now they've managed to force this fight, and they can actually go in here with this very farmed lifestealer. Nice roll here from the bear, but that only delays the inevitable. They kill the bear, and the Lone Druid himself is also going down. We are just going for this Bane, and that is a nice kill. And at this stage they're just so far ahead that it's very hard for the enemy to do anything. Solar Crest would have been completed at this point, which would make this high ground push a bit easier, but Kuro was sniped by a Phantom Lancer. But nevertheless they can just go for this high ground. There's still some heroes dead, and it's enough to get the melee racks, and now possibly also the ranged racks. Also picked up this Evolving Ripper, which was not as strong as the Alpha Wolf, but provides a nice armor aura, which is helpful, as well as of course just being a creep with a pretty good right click damage. This fight is going pretty well for them. They're just so strong that they can just do this. They lose one hero here, and that's okay for high ground. So why is Weeha playing this hero? Well, this hero can actually be quite strong if you pick him in the right kinds of games. If you have games where the enemy don't have much AoE damage, there's not much damage over time or anything like that to proc this Gravekeeper's Cloak, these birds are very, very hard to kill, and at least as once you have reached level 12, they do a lot of damage. So this is one of these great heroes that can just buy all the aura items your team needs. He takes a little bit of space at the start, but then in the mid-late game you're no longer that item dependent. You don't need to take that much farm from your other cores. So this is great if you need like a real position 2 who just gives all the space to your position 1 hero. And in this game here they have this incredibly farmed lifestealer. Like, look at all these items. This is just a Phantom Lancer killing machine. So yeah, at this stage the game is pretty much over. You just mob up here and take the rest of these objectives, get this Phantom Lancer, and take out the tower. As with this recording, we haven't seen Weeha play Visage at the Major, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to pick him up in a game or two, if it's like a good draft for Visage. This is an excellent hero you can get as like a 9th or a 10th pick, and just against certain lineups, as long as you don't have like more than one hero that can really deal with your birds and your Gravekeeper's Cloak, this is just a really strong hero. And in those specific games he's quite strong, which is also why his win rate is actually quite good, despite having one of the lowest pick rates of all heroes. I have another Visage video on this channel, as well as like a Visage meme video, so go check those out. And if you want to see more content on Chen, Lone Druid, Visage, various other kind of micro heroes, please subscribe to this channel and ring the bell. And all is willing, I'll see you next time.